surprise, motherfucker.
Good evening, one and all, and welcome to a different Flower Hour this week. Obviously, with the game against Southampton on Wednesday night, our regular slot has been changed this week, and I'm very glad to be joined by the Greek Leek, aka Pan. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, mate. How was Tricks?
Yeah, not too bad, Matt. Yeah, just rushing around Cardiff, taking the lad to rugby training. So it's that time of year now again.
Joys of parenthood, I think, mate. And I'm the same.
Exactly.
My daughter's starting to play rugby now in September. My boy plays football on a Sunday. My other daughter plays netball on a Sunday. So I think me and my wife are just going to be split in all directions come September now. But it makes me appreciate and realize now what my parents used to have to do for me when I was younger, taking me to rugby and football training. So
exactly, mate. Yeah, they don't appreciate what we do.
Far from it, mate. Far from it. But no, nice to see you on the screen. I know we've seen a guest appearance from you on our watch along on Saturday. So first of all, tell us where you watch. I know you went to the pub with some of your mates. Where did you go and watch the game, mate?
It's in the Clive, mate, in Canton. Yeah, it's a good pub for City fans to gather for games that they can't get to. So it was a good one. Obviously, I said half time I was praying we get it. Come back, and fantastic to see Tanner and Colwill link down that right hand side, and real composure. You want it from Tanner. That ball in. When he first came in, he might have just smashed it across. But he did have a look up. That was a great ball to Robinson. And again, Robinson, he's our main man at the moment. And he, pre-season, what did he score? 6, Matt. And he took that brilliantly, didn't he? So I think we deserved the draw in the end. I don't know how you felt about it.
Yeah, I think the first half was frustrating. I think obviously they went in half time and words were obviously said, and obviously, like you alluded to there, the substitutions were key for us. It changed the game. I just think we just give him too much, whether it was too much respect, we just give him too much time on the ball first half.
Yeah.
I think the amount of times Darling brought that ball out from the back and he travelled 10 yards before anyone ever went near him, it's just, we're putting ourselves under pressure early doors. Now, I know like the first couple of games we were, pressing quite high. Didn't think Kanga and Rambo were doing that first half. I don't think Rambo got the legs to do it, to be honest. But
no,
it was a frustrating watch, to be fair. But second half, I thought it was much better. Like you said, the subs come on and made a difference, and happy with a 1-1 draw. Yeah.
I think I can't wait till that Harry Darling comes down our place. But he's more like Harry Villain, isn't he? He's the new Alan Tate, I think, and he should have been sent off twice over in that game.
Yeah,
that was a disgrace. So I think he'll get pelters when he comes down our place next year.
Yeah, I didn't think the ref had the greatest game. There was a couple of decisions early doors which I think warranted a yellow card. I don't think the first yellow card, correct me if I'm wrong, come until it was like injury time, and then there was a space of 3 or 4 yellow cards then in the space of a couple of minutes, which I don't think there's many South Wales derbies and you're waiting for a yellow card for the 90 minutes plus, to be honest.
He was weak, wasn't he, Matt, the ref?
Yeah, he wasn't great, but we've had worse, and no doubt we'll have worse in the future as well. But it'll be interesting. You'll have a nice what's the word I'm looking for? He'll have a nice welcome when he comes down to Cardiff. But January, I think the return game is, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we tasty. It was really important we got that first point, wasn't it, Matt? Because obviously the pressure, if we lost that 2-0, 3-0, obviously it really ramps up on the manager in it and stuff. And I think it just sort of eases the pressures, really. I mean, I know it's early days, as we all said, we give him 12 games to bed in these new players in it. But I think, bearing in mind, we can see the 7 goals in our last 3 away games down there with no goals scored. It was, it was good to see us get something from them in it.
Yeah, and it was nice to see that fight in the second half. There was a couple of niggles towards the end. You could see it in the photo in the back around Ruben Colwill. I think that's squaring up to Darling again, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Perry NG was there winding the crowd up after we'd scored, and obviously there was the issues which we'll come on to now with the manager. And was it McNaughton, I think, or Norton, or whatever his name is?
Norton. Norton. Yeah.
Which I didn't agree with, but obviously we get to see the replays and things as it happens. I think he kept hold of the ball because did Rambo go down? Did he have a bang on the head? I think, and he kept hold of the ball.
Yeah, it was Darling again. It was an old school kind of collision with Ramsey, and I think he did clip the back of his head. Could have easily given a foul to us, but obviously Bullet. I think Bullet reacted because Darling, he'd had 5, 6, 7 chances. In terms of should have been booked, and I think Bullet had had enough. I don't think Ramsey was hurt in that challenge. He got straight up, to be fair, near enough. But it was. I think Bullet was just really angry with Darling in terms of what he was doing in the whole game. But that's the ref's responsibility, really. He just he didn't really take control of it. I mean, in derbies you're going to get tackles. We know that, don't we? We're not expecting a yellow card in the first minute. That doesn't help, does it? Really, because you want to see 11 versus 11, really. But I just think there was a few tasty challenges from Darling, and he just went over the top a bit, Matt.
Yeah. But he's one of them players that if he was in the Cardiff side, I'd like that as well. Do you know what I mean? If we were Swansea supporters now, we'd probably be saying, he had a good game. Like, do you know what I mean? I think there's a fine line in here of going over the top and being a pain in the ass.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, the ref wasn't booking him, so he was going to continue, being full on. It was a fine line, like you said, in between over the top. But you want that aggression as well in derbies. But from our point of view, like I said, I think the ref could have taken action. But I'm just so pleased that we got something out of the game. The goalkeeper, Horvath. I mean, I know I come on half time tonight when you were doing the live, and I said, it was nothing he did wrong. But one thing I didn't see, and I don't know whether you felt it, is he looked absolutely shot in terms of his nerves. I don't know whether he looks like that normally, but he just looks so nervous. Maybe understandably after the horrendous error against Burnley, but it is a major concern for me about his distribution, passes back, and I think that's in the first half we were lumping it up, and there was no play really in the back. I know they were putting us under a lot of pressure, but I just think he really struggled with his distribution, and I think his confidence at the moment. And I don't want to say drop him. I just worries me a little bit at the moment. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, 100%. But it's it's giving me heart palpitations every time the ball goes back to him, if I'm honest. And again, I think he's a great shot stopper. I know obviously the rebound, Cullen scored the rebound, but it was an initial good save at the beginning. But yeah, when he got the ball at his feet, it just makes me nervous. And I was nervous quite a lot when we played out from the back on Sunday because, like I said, they pressed high. And it wasn't as if the way we pass out from the back as well, we'd have put ourselves under pressure because we're drilling the ball at each other. The pace of the ball, and I think it only needs not a very good first touch then. And we're under pressure straight away. But we did look a couple of times on Sunday under pressure because of poor passing, playing out from the back. And I don't know. I don't think it was the time or place Sunday to be trying to play out from the back.
Yeah, and it was hard to the amount of time, wasn't it? But, like I said, they could have easily gone 2-3-0 up half time if they'd taken their opportunities. A couple of Ramsey passed it to them, when they were through again. It's just that we were fortunate in those instances. They didn't really, create chances out of those positions they should have done. But a lot of encouragement in it. I mean, we've got to be positive now. What do you think of Darland?
Very, very good. Didn't set the world alight. There was a couple of mistakes there, but that's, South Wales derby, first game in a Cardiff shirt, playing with a new centre-back partnership. Thought Chambers looked a little bit shaky first half. That's probably the shakiest I've seen him.
Yeah.
But obviously that's only going to get stronger and stronger. But the old Johan Cruyff turn in the box was Darland then. That was something a bit special. Not something we're used to seeing from our centre backs. But I think it's positive. I don't know what's your thoughts on him. I think he's only going to get stronger and stronger.
I thought Darland looked the class act. As you said, Chambers looked a bit iffy first few minutes, but he did improve. To be fair, and I got to say about NG, obviously, really, like you said, in the first couple of games, he's been quite poor, hasn't he? But this game, I thought he kept Ronald in his pocket, and I think a lot of Swansea fans felt that Ronald was oblivious in the game, and bear in mind he's one of their best players. I thought that was credit to NG, but Darland looked, class act. I think a lot of it. He's a tough one to come into, so I was really pleased. I thought Siopis and Robertson struggled against Franco and Grimes. I mean, Franco and Grimes were their best two players. Franco went off. I think that helped us a bit. And I think Siopis and Robertson, looked tidy, but obviously didn't have a lot of impact on the game. So, but as I said, it's being positive, isn't it? And say, look, we've got that point. No one, whether you're on Sunderland with 9 points or us down the bottom, it doesn't matter really at this point, does it? Because you're not judging the teams until all our players, like El Ghazi came on, didn't he? And he hasn't played for 9 months, I think, can he? So there's plenty. I'm sure we'll sign a couple more players, Matt. I mean, I don't know where you feel we need strengthening.
The left back situation, I know obviously Jamalu Collins, but I don't know how you feel, but I would prefer O'Dowda further up the pitch.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, just because he's so strong with the ball and he's not afraid to go at people. No, he does a great job. He did have a couple of dodgy moments on Saturday, especially with that free kick, which he passed straight back to them. But I feel, it's my opinion, I would much prefer him further up the field running at defenders, to be honest. So if I could have a wish list, a left back and just a striker, I think, for me. Obviously then just getting everybody who's come in the building fit.
No, I agree, Matt. I mean, I mentioned Owen Beck of Liverpool. I think Blackburn look like they're the favourites to take him on loan. Loads of clubs have been in for him, and he's a promising left back. Obviously, there must be quite a few left backs out there that we've been looking at. And the striker one, isn't it? I think all City fans. I mean, Kanga, I think he's, it was a really good shot, wasn't it, against Swansea, and he was an inches wide, but I don't know. I think the feeling is he's not the answer at the moment. He could be a good squad player, but unless we get, it's just my view, unless we get a striker, in the ilk of, like I said, when we're playing Southampton now on Wednesday, they signed Cameron Archer, who's a squad player, and I mentioned Ross Stewart, who was at Sunderland, has gone to Southampton. Whether these guys there will get game time, and whether Southampton are willing to let them on loan, because Cameron Archer, at the championship level, and Ross Stewart, when he's fit, which he is, I think, they would be, that kind of signing would elevate us into that top 10 kind of category where you're thinking, wow, hang on, this is really positive. And I think unless we get someone in, Matt, of that standard, I don't say I would worry, but I would be a little bit concerned up front.
Yeah. He doesn't, I know we've only seen a couple of games of him, but he doesn't look like somebody who's going to score you 10, 15 goals a season, in my, early honest opinions. Whereas, I was happy Robinson come on the weekend and scored. There was a great finish. Like you said, great cross by Tanner, looked up and put it on a plate for him, really, didn't he? He still had a lot to do, just inside the box.
Yeah.
But, it was a great finish. And, considering the pre-season he had, Robinson, I was quite disappointed, really. Bollock haven't played him much in the first two games. I think did he come off the bench for the first two games? I can't remember off the top of my head. But I would have liked to have started Robinson, really, because I just feel he's more likely to get you a goal, perhaps.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. I mean, like I said, he's been the form player in pre-season, and I think Si's discussed before that he likes him down the middle. I think he's one of those versatile players. Again, he can play left, but he's obviously got confidence, and it's fantastic to see that he's really knuckled down. And I think that as a fan, I know he had a few issues with the club last year with the manager, but he's obviously professional in terms of got his head down and really worked hard for the manager to show that he's worthy of a first team place. And for me, I know we're going to go on and discuss the Southampton game Wednesday, but I think he's justified to be in the first team, isn't he? Really, he's done nothing wrong.
No, 100%. So with that, very well plugged there, Pan. We'll move on to the Southampton game tomorrow night. You going?
Yeah. Yes,
I'll be there.
Yeah, we're going down. Yeah, looking forward to it. Went to the first game. I think my best mate from school was a Southampton fan. I always remember when I was growing up, I'm obviously a bit older than yourself, and in our day, obviously, it hadn't changed that much. But it was, if you were a Cardiff fan, you were likely to be a Man U fan, or a Leeds United or Liverpool fan, really. So when I met my mate and he said he's Southampton, I thought, well, I quite like that because it was something different. And in those days, they had Kevin Keegan and Mick Shannon. They were really top players, and obviously later on Matt Tizzy. But the Southampton team, my mate was telling me that these Premier League clubs, Matt, they got so much quality in their reserves, haven't they? Just to give you an idea for them, like I said, Cameron Archer, and a Dozy. They got a guy called Tyler Dibley, who's only 18, who's that all the Southampton fans really rate him. And then there's Ronnie Edwards, they signed from Peterborough, and the ex-Jack Nathan Wood as well, who's obviously in their defence, who's a pretty good defender. So that's just a few of the probably players who's going to play for them tomorrow. How do you think we're going to line up?
Yeah, tricky one for me, because obviously there's been mentioned about like the likes of Conte going out on loan. Now, I don't know if that's changed. I haven't seen anything publicised about him going out yet anyway. I know obviously Eli King has gone to Stevenage. Am I right in saying was this Stevenage he's gone to?
Yeah, I think so, mate. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. For me, I would like to try and go as strong as possible, but obviously I know there's bigger fish to fry with obviously league performances and things. But when it comes to Cup, whether it's FA Cup or League Cup, is all on the day. I think form can go out to the window, and I would like to just try and go as far as we could, really, and play the strongest squad available. Obviously, you've got to look at our older players and manage their game time. So, like Aaron Rambo, I wouldn't imagine he'll be in the squad tomorrow. Siopis. Yeah. So I think certain situations, give the youngsters a go, but try and go, as strong as we can. I would imagine Jack Annick will come back into the squad tomorrow. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it goes out.
What about the new lad, Will Fish, Matt?
I'm pretty sure I read that he's not available until after the international break, I think, Pan.
Right.
Don't quote me on that.
Is he got a slight injury?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what type of injury he's got, but I'm sure Bullitt said he's not fit until after the international break. But saying that, I don't think we expected Al Ghazi to be on the bench on Saturday, did we? That was thrown into the mix.
Yeah, that surprised us. Yeah, because he's been out for so long. I imagine Fagan, Walcott, and Gutas might get a game, in the defence maybe.
Yeah, and the young right back I liked the look of through pre-season as well. And granted, you can only judge on the team you're playing against, but he looked really composed.
Yeah.
Ronan Capaccio, excuse the pronunciation.
Capaccio, yeah.
Really impressed with him. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. If we can expose him to that first team environment as much as possible in games like this tomorrow, then I think it's only going to be good for his development going forward.
Yeah. And what about left back, Matt? Do you think Fagan or Louis Giles? I mean, what have you thought of those two?
Again, going back to pre-season, I think he played Fagan as like the left centre back, didn't he, a couple of times?
Yes.
So I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow if he plays Gutas on the right, Fagan on the left, and gives Louis Giles a chance on the left as well.
Yeah.
Which again,
he could do.
I'm not sure he will do that, but I wouldn't rule it out either.
Do you think he'll play Roberts? Do you think he'll play? Obviously, Robertson didn't have an impact as much as he wanted to. Obviously, it's early days for the lad, and But do you think he would play him against Southampton, or do you think there's other players?
I think you obviously he's come into the team with a bit of a reputation, and for me, if I was Robertson, I'd be knocking on the manager's door saying, "Look, I want to be playing, even if it's for 55, 60 minutes." He probably knows on Sunday wasn't the best performance from his point of view. So I would like to think he's on the manager's. I don't know if players do that nowadays, but I'd want them all to be hungry to want to play, to be honest, Pan. And give that manager the headache then to select the side.
And what about Reindorf? He played really well, didn't he, against Rovers? I was hoping he'd be involved in the squad for the next league game. But what did you think of him? And do you think he might get the number 9? Or?
Yeah, hopefully he'll have a run out. I was really impressed with him, his work ethic. When he came on, he only had 15, 20 minutes, didn't he, I think? But again, another bright one for the future. It goes to show the work that we do in below first team levels working, that these players are able to, come into the squad and fit in nicely. So, credit to Darren Pearce and the other coaches in the age groups below. It's really positive to see the youngsters coming through. But I would chuck him straight in the deep end. Yeah, it's the best way to learn for me.
And what about Rolsey? Will Rolsey, do you think, be fit, and would he play him or what? Because obviously he tends to play those defensive midfielders, isn't he? Like Siopolis probably may not play, isn't he, after a hard game against the Jacks. Or do you think is Rolsey fit? Do you think, or if he's fit,
depending on his fitness, I wouldn't be surprised to see Rinomhota in there tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see if Rose is fit. Obviously, with the early kickoff on Saturday and we're only playing Wednesday, he might give him some minutes early doors. Again, he might not risk him at all. I think, obviously, it's a big game tomorrow.
That's a fair point.
But it's a massive game Saturday as well. I think, we got to be targeting Middlesbrough for 3 points on Saturday. But, we'll see. But
it'd be interesting to see what he does.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say it'd be interesting to see what he does with Tanner as well, Matt, isn't it? Because Tanner's he's had an up and down start, hasn't he? Where he threw his handbag down in the one game and he came off in it, and obviously was out against Sunderland and he looked pretty poor, didn't he? But obviously his attitude was questionable.
I don't know what your thoughts are with Tanner, Pan, but he's a type of player at the moment where, when he starts a game and when he comes off the bench, he looks a complete different player. Whether it's something fitness-wise, I don't know. He looks a fit lad, and he goes up and down the lines. I don't know whether it's a mentality thing, but he looks a different player when he comes off the bench than what he does when he starts a game. Would you agree with that? Is that something you've picked up on?
No, I agree. And I don't know whether that is something to do with the coaching in terms of what is expected of you. You know, if you start the game, I mean, he is more of an attacking player than defensive, but he has improved his defending, hasn't he? You know, like you said, he has covered left back a couple of times. He did okay. He's not a left back, is he? But you know, I thought, you know, obviously when he first came, he needed to get his fitness up to speed, his physical size, you know, to be an athlete at that level. He was playing in the equivalent of Division 6 or 7, wasn't he, or whatever you'd call it when he was at Lewes. So he needed time to build up his fitness. But yeah, I agree with you. When he's a sub, and I think against the Jacks, you know, is maybe Bullet said, you know, come on, get some runs in there, go for him. And it's a different mentality, isn't it? With that 20 minutes to go, you're down. But when you're starting a game, you know, you've got that different focus of keeping it tight, maybe, you know, and maybe it's kind of the way he plays is more constrained when he starts. You know, it's that flash buckle kind of style down the wing that, you know, is fantastic to see one against the Jacks. He was really within his shell, wasn't he, when he started against Sunderland, which sort of surprised me a little bit. But yeah, you're right. I totally agree with you. At the moment, he seems to be more effective as a sub for us. But that's the thing, isn't it? As a fan, you see him come on and you do the things he does, and you think, why can't he do that from the start? You know, so that is a big area for him in terms of development, isn't it? To be that winger on the team sheet every week, you know, that starts games, and I just hope he can keep on improving, and he has got talent, hasn't he? And he does excite you, you know, when you see him do things like he did against the Jacks. But you know, it's all well and good, like you said, turning up at home when he scored that wonder goal against them. But I think the difference between him and Colwill is Colwill scored that wonder goal against the Wurzels last season, but what he's done since March is really stepped up his game. You know, Colwill seems to have gone up 2-3 levels, really. Yes, his shooting at times, you know, is an area to work on. He tends to lean back quite a bit, doesn't he? But I would say Colwill, for me, should be in our first team without question. I just think myself, you know, he's got the skills, he's got the vision. He's got a load of experience now. He's got so many games for us. I just think we should be using him, Matt, in the first team. I don't know how you feel about it.
If I'm completely honest, Pan, it was a question I was going to ask you, really, because obviously when they made the change on Sunday, I expected, when I seen Colwill coming on, I expected him to replace Ramsey, if I'm honest. But obviously, they didn't take Ramsey off. They took Robertson off, I think, and pushed Ramsey back a bit deeper and let Colwill run more in that 10 position, which I thought Rambo had a better game playing deeper. And obviously Colwill got the legs to press a bit more. And going forward, I think that might be a better option for us. I know we've got a lot of people in midfield, CO, Rambo, Robertson, to keep them happy. But I think for the way that he's set up and wants to play the game, I think Colwill has got to be playing in that number 10 role. Yeah,
I agree wholeheartedly there, Matt. I think you're absolutely right. What you just said there, that Ramsey just hasn't got the legs. Not to be too critical against the Jacks, but there were certain things I just feel, you know, he in that forward position, we just seem to lack the legs, lack the movement. I just think maybe we need to start thinking about moving people around a bit. And as you said, Ramsey in that deeper position, you know, he's got good experience. He can, you know, he's a good passer generally, isn't he? So I think you're right. I think Colwill for me has to be the 10. And like I said, Robertson, you know, as I said, if you're playing you know, in a deeper position with Siopis, you know, Robertson could be that guy, you know, just in front, like, you know, so you've got that forward for you. whether it always works, I don't know. But having, say, Colwill, Robertson, a 9, who that is, Cangrell, Ghazi, and then Willock. As I said, hopefully a new striker within the next 10 days, next few days. I think that could be better for us going forwards. I just don't. I mean, it's great that Ramsey looks fit, and we were worried about, was it against Burnley? He came off late on. I can't remember now, wasn't it? Where I was a bit worried he might have an injury. But I just think, as I said, Colwill for me should be one of our main attacking players, really, and we've just got to get. Go on.
I was just going to say, just to add to your comment, really, was, we need to be building, he's got so much talent, so much ability. We need to be building that team around him now to focus on his strengths. I know, like you said earlier, he's got a lot of work to do still on finishing and things, but he scored some great goals for us. So, that ability, without doubt, is there. But I just think, there was rumours about him getting picked up in the summer. Obviously, we've kept hold of him at the moment. There's still a few days to go, and nothing would surprise me. But we know
Russell Martin.
With him being a Cardiff boy, sorry, Pan, with him being a Cardiff boy as well, and the passion he has got, I want to see him in there week in, week out.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. He's definitely matured. I mean, he's definitely improved his game. He's one of those lads who really takes in feedback and listens. He always wants to improve, and that's really good. So, he's a Cardiff boy through and through. So, from the fans' point of view, we love him, don't we? We want him in the side. But I was going to say Russell Martin really likes him, and I was saying about loan signings from Southampton. Strikers they got. It could backfire on us, and they could offer some money for Colwill and say, look, you will give you. I hope that doesn't happen, because it was a bit like that with McGuinness, mate. Losing McGuinness was a big blow. But I think, obviously, to be fair, Darland and Fish we haven't seen yet. I think we've done some good business there, to be fair, because it's like anything. You bring a player through, you make a good profit on him. But if you can replace him with a couple of lads who are really talented, like Fish and Darland, I think that softened the blow a bit with McGuinness, isn't it?
Yeah.
But again, if you lose Colwill, you've got to replace that. Not just as a striker. You need to cover it. It actually leads on to my other thing. I was going to just say about Turnbull, who obviously came in from Celtic. Signed him for £2 million, didn't we? From Celtic, played over 130 games, scored over 30 odd goals. Near enough 1 in 4 for them. Won 6 trophies up there. And played in the Champions League 24. At the time, obviously, a lot of City fans thought, good business. I'm really questioned it now. I think if he hadn't got injured recently, I think he's out for 2 to 4 weeks. I had a sneaky feeling that he could go out on loan or even be transferred, because I just think with Turnbull, he's played 18 games for City and he hasn't scored. And I know a lot of those are off the bench, but I haven't seen enough from him to say he's going to be in that team. I'm not saying he hasn't got ability. I just really question it, Matt, about, I don't think Bullett's had a lot of influence on him coming. And I think he could end up, I hope I'm wrong, he could end up being one of those signings that, we lose money on again. Look at the old, how much has Tan lost over the years? Way over 100 million. Josh Murphy, Cornelius, then there's the lad Medine from Blackpool, 6 million. Overall, he's lost over 100 million on these signings who ended up going for nothing. And I do wonder with Turnbull. I'm not saying he's going to, he's not as big a signing as those other guys, but I don't know about you. I feel I obviously seen him in moments in it where he's come off the bench, looks tidy. I just don't see, with Robertson there, Ramsey in a deep position, Colwill, if those 3 players stay. I know it's a squad game. I just think Turnbull wants to be playing games. He probably should be playing games. He thought he signed for us to play games. And I just think, I know he's injured at the moment. I just think he's having doubts. It doesn't help his confidence as well. I don't know where that's going to go, really, Matt.
Yeah, I'm probably under the same impression as you. I haven't been overwhelmed with his performances since he came in, if I'm completely honest. Again, I think it was probably a signing that wasn't the manager's. And I just don't see where he's going to fit in with the current squad now, Pan, if I'm completely honest with you. And, I'm not doubting his ability, because you don't get to play over 100 games for Celtic if you haven't got something about you. But like you said, obviously, with the move down from Celtic to Cardiff, I haven't seen anything that's really excited me, Pan, if I'm completely honest with you. And obviously the transition, it can take time and things. But obviously then with the additions that we've made through the summer, I just struggle to see where he's going to play him in the squad for him to be, to do better than what we've already got, really.
Yeah. I think his injury is, like I said, I think he just would have gone on loan at least to another club. Obviously he's come down here to sort of rekindle his career, really, and it hasn't worked out so far. So I think that's one to watch. I mean, come January, I just already I just don't see him when he comes back fit being in that first team. And when you're on the bench and you're coming on for like 10 minutes, I think it's something of a concern both for the club and for the player, So I just think he is one that that could end up going out earlier than we hoped, really. And I mean, like I said, I wish he does. I hope he comes back from his injury and gets his head down and really works hard, because obviously it's good to have options. And like sometimes a player like that, Turnbull, he scores some tremendous goals, like 25, 30-yard shots. Some of his goals are out of this world, and I think sometimes with that type of player, if he gets one goal, it gives him that confidence, doesn't it? And then suddenly he could be a completely different player. So we're hoping he can do that. But it'll be interesting to see what happens, mate.
Yeah. Before we start wrapping up, then I'll have a little quick look through the comments. I haven't got the rights to put the comments up on the screen, so you'll have to just bear with me, guys. Reece David Evans, safe to say the Preston North End Perry NG rumours are put to bed now. If he's playing, there can't be any serious discussion over him leaving. Good work, Si. Si's in the background. He can do it. Obviously last week there was a couple of rumours come out that he potentially might be wanting to go back closer to home. Do you think that could have been his swan song on the weekend? Any indication?
When I saw the Preston interest, I just didn't think they were the type of club who'd spend that kind of money. I know Ridsdale's there, the ex-chairman of Cardiff City, and he's a director there. But I didn't think Preston would be, paying that kind of money. They're not that type of club normally. So, I mean, obviously, if the rumours are true that he wants to go up north, until transfer deadline. But I didn't think there was anything in the Swansea game. Yes, obviously he played really well, didn't he? Which is encouraging. I just don't think that was a swan song. I hope that from that performance that he stays with us. I think but it's one to watch. I think in this Matt this week.
Yeah, definitely. So potentially then, obviously there's 3 or 4 days left for the transfer window. Just going back to thinking back on, I think he's a winger, and you might have to correct me if I'm wrong, but Si mentioned a couple of weeks back about a Casey McAteer from Leicester, is it? Is it Leicester? You're frozen, I think, Pan. Oh, anyway, if Pan is frozen, I'll join in. Cardiff City World, yeah. So obviously, Casey McAteer, it'd be interesting to see if they can do any business with him now during the week for the next 3 or 4 days. Obviously a striker and a left back for me, really. The goalkeeper situation is still not convinced with Hovarth. Jack Anick is probably my number one, but I would definitely go and perhaps look, even if we can bring an experienced keeper in on loan, which I know is probably doubtful, but I don't know what's out there really. I don't get to look at those types of things, but it is what it is. So I'm all by myself. I won't start singing that song, but I'll just start wrapping up. Going to the Cardiff City game tomorrow. My boy's away, so my wife is coming to watch her first Cardiff City game. So she's looking forward to that, honest. So just a reminder as well, tomorrow after the game, Sai will be doing a short match reaction to the Southampton game. So obviously that's going to be quite late, depending on what time the game finishes. Hopefully it doesn't go to penalties and we're there till nearly midnight. But yeah, and apologies, I haven't had the rights to put all the comments on the screen this evening. Much appreciated for everybody who has interacted and put posts up. If you can, and you remember, please go onto YouTube, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the Cardiff City World podcast. That'd be fantastic. And just before I wrap up, a massive thank you to the Flower Hour sponsors, which are AJM, do an embroidery and print business based in Colwill in Vach. They've got a website, a Facebook page. You can see all the information you need on their social media platforms. No job is too big, no job is too small. So please support them if you can. Have a little look. Obviously, with the kids going back to school now, they do things like school uniforms. So it's worth getting in touch with Matt Brown and his team over at AJM. And for the price of a pint of Carlin, I'll get that in for Rob because he's left me this week. For the price of a pint of Carlin, you can become a member of Ace Podcast Nation. Join the Patreon channel. You get free access, or you get access then to the live event shows, early tickets and things. So it's really worth becoming a member. And obviously, by doing that, you're supporting Sai and everything that he's be able to do for the channel. So thank you very much for those who are joined tonight. Very much appreciated. Look out for a match day vlog tomorrow. And we'll catch up with you on the weekend then for the Flower Hour. Happy days.